Welcome back. As you can see, we got another job in the shed. A Golf R. R for repair, golf repair. Anyway, so let's have a rundown and talk about it. Basically, this car was diagnosed and checked over by a dealership, not myself. And they gave the client a rundown of things they need, and it was a bit expensive for the client to do, so the owner of the vehicle basically decided he wanted to try find a cheaper route, and he got a hold of me. So here we are. Basically, what's going on here is a lot of your a lot of your basic common problems with these. There's some aftermarket fitments and some suspicious writing on certain things that makes me think that there might have been tuning done to this car, but that's neither here nor there. In a nutshell, what's going on here is we have a coolant regulator and water pump that's leaking. We have an oil pressure switch that supposedly needs to be replaced. A lower oil pan that's leaking, the gasket needs to be replaced, as well as a heater core matrix that needs to be replaced because apparently the heat is not working correctly. I don't know, I haven't tested it. It seemed to be working fine when I was driving the car. And what else? I don't know, let's have a look here in the back. There's a whole bunch of parts, yep. Yeah, we got some coolant, which based on their quotation for a regulator and a heater matrix, I don't see this being enough coolant, but luckily I've got my own. So we got the heater core matrix or heat exchanger, we got the regulator, we got the water pump, a Wasser pump, we've got an oil filter because we're doing a service on it, we've got the fitting parts for the heater matrix, the union for the regulator, drain plug, a seal for, I'm guessing is the oil level sensor seal, oil pressure switch, some sealant, the gasket for the oil pan, the belt for the water pump, and then the invoice. So that's what we're going to be doing. Not overly difficult work, but some nice work for a little bit of extra cash. So today I'll probably start off by doing a cooling system. That's the biggest job. Much better. So I'm pulling the manifold out straight up. I'm not gonna mess around and make my life difficult without working on a hoist where I can stand, reach for the sky easily. I'm just gonna take the manifold out, have a look at the gaskets. If I can reuse them, I'll reuse them. If not, you know, the owner of the vehicle is like pretty chilled. They're like, whatever. If we need intake manifold gaskets, order them. Oh yes! What?
One eternity later.
We got some Penrite oil. Shout out to Penrite. Yeah, man. Penrite oil it's good oil, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you want to service your car and you want good, high quality oil for a good price, like, check Penrite out. Australian company. They make great oil. Yeah. So this is VW 504, 507, 5W30. This is going to be perfect for this car. Usually you use this on cars that have diesel particulate filters or gasoline particulate filters, but this is going to be perfect for this engine. The viscosity is just fine. Maybe we could have used 502, which is maybe got a bit more I would say protection properties in it, not so much environmentally based, but this is what we're going to use for the service. It's great oil, it's going to work fine, we don't have to stress too much about it, and they give you a service sticker free. I think that's pretty cool, man. You know, and like, you know, it's the little things. Anyway, this is not going to be like a step for step on how you do this job, because honestly, these EA 888 engines, they're so common, dude. Like, you can find a how-to guide to do pretty much any of this job or any of the jobs involved in this repair. Much better. I'm gonna kind of do a time lapse and cut in between and do a little bit here and there on what's going on with the repair. But yeah, mainly it's just to have some fun, work on cars, work on a cool car. It's a wagon, by the way. That's pretty cool. It's raining here in Wellington, New Zealand, which is very rare. If you've ever been to Wellington, New Zealand, this doesn't happen often at all. But yeah, so basically we're gonna get started. I'm gonna jack her up, put some jacks underneath, drain out the coolant, and get started by pulling out the manifold so I can get to the regulator. And yeah, once the regulator's done, we'll move on to the heater matrix. Once the heater matrix is done, we'll move on to the service and the oil pan repair, just because that's most likely going to be the simplest job. So we'll do it nice as a nice finishing off. Plus it allows me to do the cooling system and then test the cooling system for leaks with the old engine oil and stuff before I even do the service. Bang the service in, reset the service light with VCDS, and give it back to the owner. Sweet, let's do that.
Hit your bass hit your when the bass hit your face, you be like when the bass hit your face, you be like
Well, as you can see, here's the reason why they put it on the oil pan repair. Major oil leaks and coolant regulator. I don't know if you can see up there. Oh, it's so hot. There it is. Yep, she's leaking. So, yep. We'll start by, is this one of the nice VW products where they put a place to drain all the coolant? No, probably not. No, they never do. So we'll start off with the simple thing. Let's drain the coolant.
got something that'll get the people. Bass hit your bass hit your when the bass hit your face, you be like when the bass hit your face, you be like when the bass hit your face, you be like when the bass hit your face, you be like the bass face. Give me something that'll get the people. I got something that'll get the people. Give me something that'll get the people. I got something that'll get the
Sweet! We are done. Well, at least we're done with the regulator for now. Make sure it ain't raining in the back of this boat tailgate. My bike's getting wet now. We'll close that. Yeah, man. Yeah, dude, we're pretty much done. I like it. It's out. Yeah, just the nice thing on a Golf is you actually have quite a bit of space here. Some of the cars like the TTs and the S1s, like there isn't a lot of space in front of you, so it can be a bit of a bitch. But all I really needed to do was just take the throttle body out, and once the throttle body was out, here it is here. I'll probably end up giving that a clean as well. But once the throttle body was out, it wasn't too bad to get space in there and just maneuver. The thing is, like, what makes this job actually a bit or difficult to do, or pain in the neck, sorry, what makes this job a bit of a pain in the neck is this union here. So I'll pull this union out. This union here goes into this port on the water pump and then slots into the side of the cooler. And with the limited space, when you're doing it from underneath, you can't do it from underneath, but with that limited space, sometimes you don't line up the union correctly and it sits off center, and then it just leaks and you got to take the whole thing out and you can't really see. Whereas now it's a bit easier to get the unit in place. You can kind of see it a bit better, and you can just see where it's been leaking. You can see all the residue left here on the block down, which we'll probably clean off. Yeah, the cooling system looks okay, a little bit rusty in there, but definitely this job has been done before, because you can see where it actually leaks in the regulator. A lot of the time it leaks from this area here, and just like in between mounting points of the plastic housing. Like, to be fair, this is not a very good design, and I mean it probably does its job from a thermal management point of view, but it's not the best design. These things are so common on these EA888 engines, you know. It's just like, that drives me nuts. Whoever did that, oh man. Anyway, it's just a common thing, and you can see somebody's worked here, because there's all this weird, what I assume is red rubber grease that somebody decided to put all over this place, or maybe some sort of sealant that works with cooling systems. You get this, I know Mercedes-Benz has a sealant that they use on cooling systems as well. It's more like a gel, it doesn't quite seal or set like a silicone sealant. Maybe it's something like that, but you can definitely see that this job has been done before. It's just this, whatever it is everywhere. It was on the intake tubes, it was on some of the pipes here. You can see, hey, come back here, you can see it's on some of the pipes. This light, by the way, is a godsend when you're working. It just makes life so much easier. But yeah, it's not a difficult job. I mean, like I said, you can watch a step-by-step walkthrough on how to do this, but it's not something that I'm gonna do right now, because there's so many online that I don't think you necessarily need one. Although you can see I've removed some of the boost hoses and cooling lines down at the bottom, just to make a bit of space and drain the coolant into these two containers. Yeah, it makes a bit of a mess, because, you know, the Volkswagen Group in their infinite wisdom, when they design their cooling systems, they don't put a little drain plug on them, because according to them you never have to change coolant ever, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life. And yeah, well, most manufacturers are like that. But yeah, so it makes a bit of a mess, but you know, that's part and parcel of the job these days. You ask any technician. I'll need to replace this belt, so I got to pull this pulley off. It's just a nut at the back there, and then I'll put a new belt on and start assembling the new unit and put it together to put it in the into the engine. And then there's a adaptation you do on it, which I think I should be able to do with my VCDS. And then yeah, it's pretty much done, and on to the next thing, which will be the heater matrix. But I think that's me for the day. I'm gonna probably end up cleaning most of tomorrow and reassembling it, and then moving on to the next job and the next job and the next job. Take my time with the job. I'm not going to rush it for any particular reason. Pull a couple of late nights maybe and do a bit here, but there. But yeah, that is an EA 888 thermoregulator and a water pump. You know, pretty straightforward. Airbox out, disconnect all the cooling lines attached to it, disconnect the cooling line at the bottom obviously to drain the coolant out, disconnect the plugs for the direct injectors, and move the harness that runs at the top above it out of the way, disconnect the map thermostat, take the cover off that sits on the side that goes around the actual gear and belt drive, remove that cover, remove the belt, loosen the T30s, 1 2 3 4 5, and pull the unit out. It's actually not a difficult job, just space wise. Yeah, so next time we'll be in here will be when we're cleaned up and ready to go. Sweet. Yeah, so as you can see, we've cleaned it all down. Oh, stay tuned, by the way. I went home. I was lazy. I wanted to eat dinner and I wanted to relax. But we are back, and as you can see, it's all cleaned down. Now we're gonna start getting ready to reassemble the thermostat, or assemble the thermostat and the cooler pump assembly, and then put it all together and, you know, fit it into the car. So let's see how that goes, and then yeah man, like we can move on to the next thing, which is maybe the oil pan replace. I might just bolt the unit in place and then end up moving to the oil pan and doing that. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Looks like a tiny little cam belt for a tiny little engine, but yeah, so we're gonna refit that. When you remove it, this is probably well-known knowledge by now, but the gear or pulley for the belt that runs off the balancer shaft, it's left-hand thread, so it loosens by rotating clockwise and tightens by rotating anti-clockwise. So when you're removing it, just keep that in mind. You can just pull it off. The gear is locked in place by the rest of the timing assembly, so you don't need to stress too much about that, and it's not too tight. I didn't see a direct torque spec for this on the Own It workshop manual, so we'll just fit this on, fit the belt in, put the coolant pump assembly together, and get ready to bolt it in place. Our mating surfaces here are nice and clean, as you can see, so it gives something like for our gasket to go in, and then that's where our union goes in, so lining everything up. It's a bit tricky, but it's much easier like this, a bit more space, and trying to do it from underneath, that can be a massive pain in the neck. So yeah, let's do that and we'll be back. Alright, new regulator is in. It's a bit of a shit one. obviously you got to worry about that seal and union at the back, so it can be a bit of a to get into place, but you kind of gotta, like, once again, I'm sure there's many videos on YouTube on how to do this, but you kind of got to go in at an angle and then forward. Now comes the next fun part, is getting the new belt on. That's going to be quite the experience. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to put it there and try to rotate the engine and get the belt to turn itself on with this cover over the blades to protect both the belt and the blades. And if any blades slightly move or deform, we'll just bend them straight. Yeah, so let's do that. Right, so belt's on. As you can see, brand new belt is on. That bolt is tight. That was a lot more difficult than I actually expected it to be. So on this engine, in their infinite wisdom, the Germans decided to put the washer bottle right next to the front of the engine, so there's not much space to put a spanner or wrench or ratchet or whatever you want on the crank pulley to rotate the engine. Because usually what I do is I take the cover and I'll leave this on and I'll press the belt against here at a sort of an angle, and I'll rotate the engine so that the belt pulls itself on, or the pulley pulls the belt on. So I couldn't really get in there to rotate the engine while I'm holding the belt. So I had to come up with another plan. I tried to turn using the belt itself by just grabbing on the belt and rotating the engine, which is fine, but then I was dealing I was working against the compression of the cylinders, so I had to end up taking the spark plugs out so that I could rotate the engine. But even though that made it easier, you still can only rotate the engine so much before you start dealing with the resistance of the valve springs against the camshaft, and it's hard to pull on the belt up without the belt sort of just flexing and not pulling on the engine. So that was a bit of fun. I had to rotate the engine to a point where I knew I would have a lot of rotation or movement for a long period of time, and then pull the belt in and then rotate the engine until I got it on as much as possible, and then just slide it on into its place from there. But yeah, so now extra labor, but we got it on, so now we can carry on putting everything together. I am put everything together and put a little bit of some Penrite red rubber grease on. Good stuff. Expensive. $26 for 100 grams is ridiculous, but anyway, put some of that on the seals. That should help just, you know, look after them for a little bit longer, maybe maintain whatever's remaining. Yeah, so we'll carry on putting together, and then pressure test it, vacuum test it, fill it up with distilled water. We're just going to fill it up with distilled water. I want to flush it a few times, and yeah, then see how it goes. I mean, what else can you do? I just want to say on a side note that gents, these 10mm or M8 bolts that hold down the coils, as well as their 10mm nut counterparts, it's like 9 Newton meters, boys. We don't need to be tightening them down as if they're holding the structure for an oil rig in place. Okay, like, you can see how twisted and mangled the earth straps are from people cranking down on them or just running an impact gun or an electric ratchet on, gents. They don't have to be that tight. Like, the amount of times you can't turn the 10 nut on top off because it's so tightly wound up that the strap creates a mating surface between the two. You start turning the bolt itself out, and then you're stuck trying to get this 10. It's not overly difficult, but it's just unnecessary, boys. Come, we need to do better than this. It's like 9 Newton meters, that's it. Even if you don't want to use a torque wrench, you don't have to. You just, you know, just a little. All right, thank you. Cool, bye. Right, so we are all back together. So all the hoses are in, lines are connected. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to vacuum, well, I'm going to create vacuum inside the cooling system, and I'm going to check if it holds vacuum. I don't have a pressure tester with me, so I can't pressure test the cooling system, which is also something you need to do as well as vacuum test, because if you have something that's going to pop off from pressure, a vacuum tester is going to suck all the coupling and joint points in. So if there's a poor connection, the vacuum can actually sort of improve it, and then you might not know if you've got a leak somewhere with regards to something in particular. But it should give me an idea of if there is a problem with the seal or something like that. So if there's the fitting of the thermostat module itself done wrong, this should give me an indicator of what's going on there. So that gives me a better idea of what I'm doing. So we're gonna add vacuum to it, and we're gonna see if we have anything to worry about at this present moment in time. Alright, shut it all. Let's see. Wait for the compressor to stop running. As I was saying, you can see there's vacuum in the system because the whole hose is collapsed, obviously, because the pressure outside is now greater than the pressure inside. And yeah, it seems to be holding, which is a good thing. So I'm gonna leave that for about 2 minutes, and then what I think I'll do is after 2 minutes, I'm gonna just take some distilled water, and I'm just gonna fill this bad boy up with distilled water. Starter, runner, let her get to temperature. I'll probably have to do adaptation on the map thermostat, so we'll see if we can do that. Yeah, basically check for fault codes and anything funny going on. So let's see how that goes. So there you go. After about 2 minutes, she's still in the same place. That makes me happy. So we're gonna suck up some of this distilled water and fill up the cooling system, and then we're going to start it and run it. I love this tool. This will be nice as well because we'll be able to flush out all the old coolant from the system when we do the heater core again. We're going to do the heater core matrix on this as well, so this allows us to put some distilled water in and let it flow around. It doesn't necessarily have any cleaning properties or whatever, but this cooling system will just need a decent flush and get all the dirt and old whatever, I don't know, out. And yeah, distilled water is pretty cheap, so I've got this lying around the workshop, so why not? Sweet. So, I mean, you can even see inside the cooling system from here all the debris and crap that's gotten in there over the years. So far so good. No reason for concern. I don't see any drops coming out the bottom. Hoses and everything look all good, so we'll start her up. And yeah, luckily this is not, it doesn't have an MS sensor, so I don't have to worry about that. I think it's speed density or whatever. It uses manifold pressure and boost pressure to determine the amount of air coming into the engine, so we should be able to start this up and do our thing. But first things first, we're going to attach the scan tool, have a look at what's going on, make sure there's no fault codes that we should be worrying about, and then we'll start her up. Okay, so no codes present on the engine ECU, which is good. That means everything that's supposed to be plugged in is plugged in. The next question is, I don't have adaptation on here for the map thermostat, which is a bit of a problem, but for now, let's just start it up. Start stop error. There will be some light warnings for the power steering, traction control, ABS, tire pressure monitoring, because I had the battery disconnected and I need to obviously drive it. But in terms of engine operation, she's smooth. This is good. Alright, we're gonna let it run. I'm gonna keep an eye on the temperatures over here and we'll see how things go. Cooling temperature 22 degrees, so that'll slowly go up. We are in closed loop, so that's good. Yep, let's keep an eye on the coolant temperature. It's gone up to 34 degrees, so if I switch on my lights, the CT thing off, vents to blow at our face, temperature at max, and we'll keep an eye on everything. Sweet. Right, so far so good. It's idling smooth. We've got heat coming through the hoses, seems to be warming up. It looks like I have flow from a water pump. Kind of difficult because the coolant is, or the distilled water is all clear, so it's hard for me to see if there's actually flow coming through, but it looks like we've got flow. Next thing we're going to do is rev her up and make sure that the fans kick in and the thermostat regulates its coolant. But at the moment we got no leaks, and heater is working, and the coolant is currently stable at about 67 degrees Celsius. So far so good. I do wonder if there you go. Some of the lights are gone just from turning the steering wheel. That normally sorts it out. Some of the cars, or the older cars, used to ask you to drive, or ask you to drive them. Let's go 2000 RPM. Get the temperature up, and if all's good, then we'll pack up for the day and head home. Sunday night, time to cook dinner and chill the hell out, you know. Call this a W. Not bad. Still got the sump repair to do and the heater core. We can probably sort that out in one weekend. I can do the sump repair as well as the service on the same time, and then yeah, deal with the heater matrix in a different way. It's going to be difficult to try to get all of the coolant out and do the job without spilling coolant on the inside of the car. But yeah, we'll deal with that as it comes. Let's just make sure the coolant is good to go. Alright, well, that's us for the day. Now it's time to pack up. It's holding pressure, which makes me happy. That means we don't have any leaks. There's no leaks underneath the car. No drips, no drabs. You can hear the additional coolant pump as it's circulating. Yeah, so at this point I'll pack up and then I'll come finish it off on sometime during the week. I'll come do some extra stuff or whatever the case may be. Maybe next weekend. We'll see how things go during the week. And yeah, we'll carry on. Next we've got to do the oil pan. After the oil pan, heater matrix, general service, which is easy enough, and then we're pretty much done and dusted with her. The oil pressure switch as well, which is down there. That's gonna be, shouldn't be too bad, pretty straightforward actually. Yeah, I mean, I think I wasn't able to run it up until the fans kicked in, unfortunately, because I got a warning for engine oil pressure, which is, I suspect, why they quoted the oil pressure sensor. But yeah, let's hope it's not something more serious. So yeah, until the next one, sweet.